we'll just.
Welcome to the Weasel. Welcome to the Weasel. Whip out your dicks and shove them in your ass. Welcome to the Weasel with Micans and Jonah.
Welcome back to the Weasel. Today we have Shane. Shane is been on the podcast before, and he's fucking great. His ability to talk into a microphone is impaired by his cheapness. He will not invest in a pair of quality headphones or therefore microphone ability. So we lost some time there, but he's with us today. I fucking love this guy, and you're the best, dude.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. And I want to give a heartfelt apology to you both and also the patrons of the Weasel for the lost time because of my cheapness. If I had known ahead of time that my unwillingness to treat myself with a nice pair of headphones with a mic was going to affect this recording, then I would have lived my life a little differently. Let me tell you.
Sure. Yeah.
Lessons learned, really. Lessons learned.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Right before we hopped on and started recording, you guys were having a nerd fucking conversation about disc golf. Any more thoughts there?
Well, just Shane asked me if it's something I recently got into. Something I recently got into again because I used to play when I was in high school heaps. Because we've got this course just down the road from where I grew up, and now it used to be like 18 holes. Now it's up to like a 27 professional hole course, something like that. It's massive now. So when I went back to the States, me and Kierley got back into it, and we brought my discs over and stuff. So we've been playing here. It's just been a lot of fun. I didn't realize how vast disc golf is, right? I didn't realize it's all over the fucking world. It's everywhere. And they've got like an Australian professional team and fucking, it's crazy stuff. So, but yeah, interested.
That's awesome. I didn't know that it was that big either. And it also kind of cracks me up to hear you say the word disc, because when I told you that I had, we talked about this before we started recording, but I had a Marine who was really into disc golf. It was like his passion. He would go up to a different base just to play on the weekends. He joined I don't even know, is it called like a league, a team? I have no idea, but he was a massive nerd about it. And a lot of the time when people would start talking to him about it, knowing that he was into disc golf, they would think of it as frisbee golf, and that's what they would call it. And he would go out of his way to correct. It didn't matter who you were. Didn't matter how nice you were being to him, or like, you're just trying to start a conversation, and he would interrupt you and say, "It's a disc. It's not a frisbee. It's a disc." we have to go like, nobody cares, dude. I'm sorry.
It's a pretty heavy. It's a pretty heavy point of contention for avid disc golfers. You don't call it a frisbee. Frisbee's plastic. It's rounded. There's like 3 types. Okay, that's it. There's 3 types of frisbees. You don't throw frisbees in disc golf. Okay, discs. Shoo, bro. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You throw it, it flies the same.
It sounded like.
Are they not? Are they not plastic?
They're rubber, heavy rubber. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're heavy. You don't want to get hit with a disc. Frisbee, you can get hit with a frisbee all day, bro. But a disc, man, that shit hurts.
What? I'm not trying to get hit with a fucking giant plastic thing flying through the sky. I would prefer to get hit by a rubber projectile
you
than
just
a plastic
don't know how to live, bro. You just don't know how to live. Okay, that's what I'm here to tell you. Is if you want to get hit with something, you want to get hit with a nice, light, maybe like 2-4 gram piece of plastic. You don't want to get hit with like a 26 gram rubber disc with sharpened edges that fucking is designed to cut through the air and
26 grams.
Oh, stop it. Stop.
Watch out.
I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about, dude.
I don't even have a frame of reference for like what 26 grams feels like.
I'm picturing like various sacks of rice, and I'm like, oh, is this a medium sack of rice equivalent, dude? Is that what the fuck you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, can we get a comparison?
Yeah, sure. It's like you think take like a bag of rice and it weighs roughly 26 grams, but then you squash it down and put it into a disc, and that's what it's like,
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's like the difference between a like 4 mangoes and an apple. Weight
How
wise.
many grams are in a kilo?
In a kilo, 1,000 grams.
Yeah, a kilo is 1,000. Yeah,
Oh, well then
Yeah.
26 doesn't feel like it's actually that much.
It's more than
You know what?
4.
Yeah.
that's
I don't
fair.
know. Anyway,
It
yeah,
sure
I
is.
don't know. It is just a little bit.
Okay. All
Anyway,
right. Well,
let's kick it off, eh? Let's
yeah.
kick it
Thank
off.
you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Good morning, boys. It is bright and early. There on the other side of the fucking planet. It's a nice afternoon here. The sun's starting to set. But this is one of those rare moments where you guys are almost in the same fucking time zone, and I'm the odd man out.
Yeah.
So thanks for getting up and thanks for being here. Shane, you've been to Okinawa before.
I have.
And I know some things about your life, but I'm curious what you would say as far as how this time in Oki is different than the last time you were here. Like circumstance, the way that you feel, your physical, mental health, where are you living, things like that.
Sure. Yeah. Man, we're gonna feel like we could dive really deep if we covered all of that, but I'm happy to do it. Last time I was, well, I think the biggest difference is that last time I was married, and I was also enlisted, and I had a house. This time, I am none of
You're
those.
none of that, dude.
Don't have a house. I'm in the officer barracks on close to Foster. I know that this will only mean something to like a fraction of your audience, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about when I describe places. Yeah, and it's a good time. Overall, life is good. I feel good mentally and physically, spiritually, emotionally, and it's been a pretty fun time. Very interesting because this time I'm a platoon commander. Last time I was a sergeant, and just rolling along trying to learn my trade and manage my little group of Marines. And I guess now I'm doing the same thing, but the group of Marines is much larger and my scope is broader. And I haven't touched a single piece of electronics gear, which is technically my job.
Are you I think that is a big difference that I want to ask you a lot more questions about as far as the new role that you're in.
Sure.
But if you boil it down, it sounds like the difference is you were a sergeant. Yeah, you had some Marines underneath you, but for the most part, you're showing up to a job, Hey, putting in another day. And
Right.
but now the situation you're in, it seems like you are forced to give way more fucks than you gave before. Is that accurate?
That's very accurate. Yeah. A lot more fucks about other people's stuff. Whereas before, it's mainly you, and you do have Marines that you have to worry about. But now, like I'll give you an example. Everybody will be anonymous, so I think it's fine. There are 2 Marines in the platoon who were dating before I got here. They broke up also before I got here, and she now is just like not.
You should have went non-binary on that, dude.
Oh man, we could have done anything other than have them date, because it is. She like doesn't even want to come into work anymore. She's really struggling now, and yeah. Long story short, it's taken up a significant amount of time, and we've sent her to like go talk to a counselor, all kinds of stuff, just because like she can't even handle seeing him at work. And let me tell you, as a sergeant, I would have never even I probably wouldn't have even heard about this, but now it is. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Just who gives a fuck? And now it is front and fucking center on your desk every goddamn day, eh?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, she called again, and she's just really having a hard time. She was asking if she could just not come into work on Monday, and I'm like, I have to very, very tactfully, politely go. Obviously, she's coming into fucking work on Monday. What do you mean? Why did you even call me about this?
Right. Yeah. It sounds kind
Yeah.
of like the leadership that you have beneath you is doesn't know really how to deal with the situation either. Is that fair to say?
I think that it is a weird situation that we're all struggling to work our way through. And I want to give them credit. They are pretty good. They generally speaking, like we're all on the same page when we react to stuff like that. You know, her not wanting to come in or, yeah. So I think that they're pretty good. But yes, we are definitely all learning how to operate in this new scenario, and it's kind of weird. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
surprised when she called to ask if she had to come in. Like you should have just told her no.
That's great,
Right.
dude.
Yeah. It's not something you should bring up and chase up further. That's odd. That's really odd. I've never because I mean we had similar like situations in our platoon in Japan where people were. It was less dating and more just people fucking each other. And then, like, creating a lot of conflict, within the
That's
platoons and stuff. But I don't think I ever heard of somebody not coming into work because they were too distraught emotionally to see that person and function. It's odd.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it surprised me. But, oh, go ahead, John.
Oh, I was gonna say we're not in the Marine Corps anymore, and we can speak openly about our situation. And our situation was fucked, dude. Our our platoon commander was fucking our lance corporals. So
Yeah, who do you call? You can't even call
who do
the
you
platoon
call,
commander. Who do
dude?
you call, dude?
Hey, babe, I can't come into work today because my dick is fucking all twisted in knots over you. Is that
Yeah.
cool?
I'm
Oh my
I'm not
God.
coming in. Is that cool? And then what's she gonna say? How is she gonna respond?
Okay. Let's get off of this example because I feel like it might get cut anyway. But
Yeah, I have to tiptoe around
yeah.
for sure.
Um, as far as what I wanted to ask you, like, what has surprised you most about this like newfound leadership position that you find yourself in? Because you did just kind of go from like, I'm a gear in the machine that's rolling along to all of a sudden now you're at the helm of the fucking machine
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I'm driving, and you're.
Yeah,
And
no,
so, like, what about that experience has surprised you now being on this side of it?
I think that the most surprising thing is getting to know other officers in their candid, vulnerable moments and realizing that they are basically just. I mean, I figured this was the case, but now I have concrete proof with my own eyes that they are just people moving along, trying to make it work, same as anybody else. They just have a different job and a different set of expectations, and it's kind of funny. Like lieutenants will come up and to me and the other chief warrant officers, and they feel more comfortable. I think, just openly saying like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you please help me?
And you're like, I don't fucking really know either. So,
That's basically. I'm like, you've been an officer longer than I have at this point, so this is. I have a little. I have like a guess, but you should probably go talk to somebody else. But yeah, go ahead.
Do you guys do you ever like gather everybody together and like, hey, listen, let's go get a hold of Sergeant Major. All right, let's go ask him what he thinks because he's been doing this a long time.
We've definitely done that with our most senior enlisted guy. We have a master sergeant. He's actually in my platoon. I'm super lucky to work so closely with him. But we 100%, yeah. Every once in a while, we'll be like, we should probably just ask Master Sergeant. He's been all the lieutenants for sure. We could combine all of their service, and it wouldn't even. I don't even think it would equal like half of what he's been in. So yeah, he's a salty guy for sure.
Right, he's the shmee, the subject matter expert in just about everything.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. I was talking to him the other day because I'm still pretty new and I feel pressure to perform or at least to know what I'm talking about when I go into a meeting. And I was just mentioning that to him as we were walking out the door to yet another meeting the other day, and he was like, "Honestly, I don't even know what this is about." And a lot of the time, that's the case for me. Like they'll send out a meeting invite, and I usually won't like write it down anywhere, and then it'll just come up. They'll send out a reminder in the morning on the day of, and then I'm just like, "Oh yeah, that's right, we have that going on today," and then I'll roll in and just start talking, just shooting from the hip, which
That's interesting.
Oh wait, you're leading the meetings that other people are setting for you?
no, not a lot of the time. I'm talking about like his response to the meeting.
Yeah.
He was saying that like he would get a meeting invite, like days in advance, and not even write it down and not think about it. And then we'll get to the day of, and a lot of the time they'll send out like a little reminder. Hey guys, we have a meeting about material readiness or whatever we're doing today. So be there at 9:30. And then my master sergeant will again. He's just experienced and savvy enough and very good at like talking his way in a circle if he needs to where he just won't even care. He'll just show up and not prepare at all, and it'll still go fine.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he talks for 10, 15 minutes, and everybody's like, "Did he actually say anything?" Like nobody's quite clear.
Yeah, yeah, if he needs to. Or sometimes, he'll hit the nail right on the head, even though he didn't prepare at all, which I also love. Again, I'm very lucky to get to work with him.
That's cool, dude.
That kind of leads me into one of my questions I had, which was, how are you finding it like connecting with your peers? Is it similar to how it was when you were enlisted, or is it kind of a little bit different? And like the relationship you've built with like your master sergeant, for example, is that more than just a professional one? Does it kind of leach into your private life?
Oh, very good set of questions. Yes, Jonah, for sure, 100% on that. Um, yeah, I I think that my relationships with my peers has been good and healthy so far. But to be honest, it wasn't what I expected because I had only worked with chief warrant officers up until this recent position by working like underneath them, like you said, as an enlisted guy. And now that I am treated as a peer and also expected to act like a peer, it's been a weird adjustment. But it's cool, because chief warrant officers have been there, done that, pretty much no matter what you bring up to them, including the transition from enlisted to officer. So even when I have awkward moments where I'm like, I don't really know how to respond to, what you're telling me right now, when they'll bring up a topic and they'll be like, I totally get it. When I was a fresh warrant officer, this is what I did. So they're great. It's a very cool peer group to be a part of.
But now you get to see, now that is your peer group too. You also get to judge them. I'm sure, because you can be like, wow, I before I just assumed you were like a shitty leader, but now I actually hear your your inner thoughts on whatever the fuck's going on, and you are just a complete shithead.
Yeah, that is super super accurate. I'm not even gonna mention it. Yeah, you'll especially like in a meeting that's sort of behind closed doors, and you'll get to hear them like because most of the time, I think that when officers do like public speaking, they try and like have something a little bit prepared, and it's been polished and refined so that they are saying things. They're saying the things that they want to say in the way that they want to say them. But in a meeting where people are just kind of coming off the top of their head, and just like coming up with their fresh ideas, some people will naturally, they're just very gifted critical thinkers, and they have a really good understanding of the topics that we're working on, like in my field. And there are other people who I just get the impression, and this is just me, just my opinion. But there are other people who are just talking to talk, man. they're doing their best, but you can tell that like, you don't really know what's happening right now. That's okay, You don't have to be embarrassed about it. You don't have to impress anybody. Just ask for clarification instead of
But they won't.
They won't.
They'll just pretend like they know what the fuck's going on and say just enough to keep up the facade.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or the one thing that they kind of have an inkling about, and they'll just start going in that direction, even though it's not really the topic of what we're supposed to be dealing with at the time, just because they feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic for leadership in the armed forces. I
would say, yeah, 100%. Yeah, ego, man. It is so important to be able to just let it go when you need to.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting you mentioned ego, because I kind of was curious when you were talking before. You mentioned that now you being there and this time around, you've become like socially, physically healthier and spiritually healthier. So what do you mean by that? How's that different from last time?
Yeah, excellent question. And I figured that we were gonna breach this topic because Jonah and I have talked about it recently. But I have been doing so. Last year, I reached out to a bunch of friends and asked them for Christian resources because I was having a hard time. I was struggling with like my place in life, the direction that my life was going. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question: why did you go Christian? Let me preface with, I know that you've been a godless son of a bitch
So
most of your life, dude.
That's right.
And yeah, and also I know that you're smart enough to know that there's multiple other religions that people definitely believe in and find spiritual value in. What made you ask directly for Christian resources?
Yeah, no, it's a super good question. Totally valid. It's mainly just because I grew up in the church and that's what I was familiar with. So I figured that if there was anything that could give me, I was looking for something that could give me a spiritual foundation to like start to build. And I figured that if there were questions that I had that led to other places, I could explore that as I needed to. But the thing that I already had in my brain that I could start from was growing up in the church. My family went to a Protestant church when I was a kid for like the first, 10 years of my life. And so I figured I'm going to start there.
Start fucking there. Yeah. It's kind of like like it's better just to start when you're in a time of like crisis or turmoil than to think about how to start.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think so.
Well, kind of gives you a jumping point, doesn't it? Rather than going from 0, you have at least 0.5 of a foundation, as opposed to just now I'm a Buddhist and I've got to figure out how to read Hindi texts. You know, like what am I gonna do? Yeah.
And having like cultural context in America, because America, I think, has a lot of like Christian values and morals worked into like other systems. Even though we tried to separate church and state, I don't think that we did it 100%. So there are a lot of concepts from Christianity that like I'm already familiar with, and that I think probably even if I wanted to change it, I wouldn't be able to, have just like seeped into my being from living in America for so long. So I think
okay, so back to Micans' question. We get why you're going Christian now. What led you there?
Like to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Good question. And so because I was at that point in my life and I reached out to a group of friends asking for Christian resources, I was like, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm looking to dive back into Christianity and just like see what's up. That's really all that I was hoping to do.
Just trying to say what up to God.
Hey. What up? Hey, did you and I talk about this? We did a week or so ago that I have a friend who refers to God and Jesus as big sandals and little sandals.
Yeah, no, I was hoping you'd say that just so we can continue that for this conversation. So you were trying to say what up to big sandals.
That's right. And by proxy, because it's part of the ritual, little sandals as well is involved in the process.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. I thought about this after our conversation. You're forgetting about the Holy Ghost. No sandals.
Yeah. No sandals.
Oh, that's so true. And it sounds just as good, too. You didn't even struggle with that. It rolls right off the tongue. Big sandals, little sandals, no sandals.
No sandals.
Yeah,
Can I ask, Shane, what it was that was kind of driving you towards needing that or feeling like you needed to revisit that in your life? Or is that something that you'd rather not talk about
No,
on the
that's
podcast?
totally okay. Thanks for wording that so considerately. But no, that's fine. Yeah, let's dive right in. It was mainly
Yeah,
because it was
I
mainly
want
because
to.
oh, what's up?
Oh, we're gonna keep just cutting each other off, but I want to know the emotional shit too. You know, I want to get to the nitty gritty
Yeah,
of what place were you in your mind and body and spirit that you were like something anybody got anything for this the crushing weight of reality, please?
yeah. Maybe this existential dread is gonna stick with me for the rest of my life, or maybe there's something that could help me out. Yeah, no, super fair. Um, I think it was a combination of, so one, I was separated for like about a year at that point and knew that I was heading towards divorce. So in my personal life, that was a big thing that was falling apart. And it felt horrible. And I was struggling to deal with that. Still had other areas of my life where I felt like I had at least a modicum of control. Like I could go to work and felt like I was progressing there. Um, I was in pretty good shape. Could go to the gym, in school, trucking along. But like those successes, or at least areas where I was progressing, didn't make up for the fact that I didn't feel like I was like making any progress in my personal life or in my spiritual life, and that was a component that I didn't even realize was missing for me for a really long time. Um, and so it was really just an empty feeling. I think that's a good way for me to describe it. I would look at my life holistically and think, okay, I'm doing all right here. Really, really fucking it up here. But even if that was going well, even during the periods when it was going well, I know that there was this part of me that really didn't feel like it was hitting all the marks, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's still
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was younger, been in relationships where everything's hunky dory, you're in candy cane land and you're just like so happy with each other. Um, but there was still something that was missing for me back then. And I remember having that feeling and not really knowing what to do with it. And that has led to behaviors and activities and decisions to like try and fill the void that were not totally healthy, that were not good coping mechanisms, not good decisions. And looking back, like I can recognize that point in my life where I was doing that kind of stuff to try and fill the void. Uh,
Damn,
and so,
dude. It's like you're preaching to the heretic choir right now. Well, I'm sure is probably felt a similar feeling to what you're describing, but I know I've been there as well. That like the existential dread's a good way of putting it. In that like I kind of double down in my belief that there is nothing and that it's all chaos and there's no fucking big sandals, little sandals, or any kind of sandals. And almost made that a point of pride in my life of being like, no, I operate off of logic and reason and that's the driving force for my life.
for
But
sure.
I think the emptiness that you're feeling is something that anybody that's chosen this path is familiar with, or at least has approached with like a curiosity of like, am I? Would my life be better if maybe I just fucking did the thing, devoted to something bigger than myself and went the route of whatever. And then,
Right.
then I go, no, that's some pussy shit.
Right.
I
Exactly.
don't need it.
That'd be weak as fuck, bro. Are you serious? You're gonna give in like that? That's what I would have thought of it as.
Right. Yeah. And I've since found like a more of a nuanced conversation with myself about it, and where I think when I was younger, I did have I'd almost put it in the realm of hatred for religion, because like I thought it was like manipulating folks and like, oh, look at all this negativity that spawns from it. But as I got older and I started I don't know, evaluating in a different light, that hatred subsided, and I think I was able to look at it more holistically, and being like, oh, there's some good here. There's some good here that's possible to tap into if you can just get out of your own fucking way.
That's a good way of putting that. But
But
I
you now go.
I agree with you. There is a lot of negativity. The stuff that you laid out that's like bad or can be bad about religion is still there, and that's a hard thing to get past for sure. Because even like the most well-meaning people, when put into positions of power or when interpreting a scripture or a set of beliefs in a certain way, it can turn out pretty badly. In my opinion, based on my set of morals and beliefs, because a lot of this stuff is very subjective. But to go back to your original there's a lot of good there too, and that was what I was trying to open myself up to the possibility of, because at the time when I reached out to my friends, I still didn't believe, and I tried to be respectful about my approach when I asked them, because I knew that it might be a little awkward if my intentions were unclear, and then we like progressed or started talking, and then they found out that I actually didn't feel a certain way or did feel, whatever. So I wanted to be very upfront with everybody. Hey, I'm struggling in my life. I don't want you to think that I'm using your religion as like a crutch, or that I'm just trying to use it as something to make me feel better. I am genuinely interested and want to learn more. I don't know if I ever will believe, but I want to learn more, and I was wondering if you guys could help me out with that. And they were all extremely supportive. Very good group of guys. I was willing to take podcasts, books, movies, anything that they had, and they recommended a bunch of stuff. But the one thing that has helped me the most, I think, is that I had one friend who said, "Hey, man, my wife." They're both very Christian. He said, "My wife has been recommending this book to me for a long time and asking me to read it. It has to do with Christianity, and I keep putting it off because I got other stuff that I'm interested in. We already go to church, and I do other Christian stuff, and so it's been hard for me to like focus on it and like use my free time to read it. But I think that if I did it with you, it could help you in your search for whatever you're looking for, and it would help me because my wife would be happy."
Get my
wife off my back. Yeah.
Get my naggy bitch wife off my fucking back, dude.
That's exactly it. No, she's actually awesome. They're great. I recently got to Okinawa, and they live here as well, and yeah, I'm glad that she was nagging him so much about it.
Okay, yeah. If she ends up listening to this, I assume you're a very nice lady. I just said that for a goof.
I don't trust you because you're a Christian woman. What's the name of the book?
Interesting.
That's my opinion. No. Just kidding. That's fucked up. What's the name of the book?
You suck. If you ever listen to this, I want you to know that you suck. The book's name, the book title was Gentle and Lowly, which I can't remember the author, but the description, Gentle and Lowly, is supposed to describe like Christ's approach to how he interacts with the world.
Little sandals?
Little sandals.
Little sandals. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm forgetting my vernacular already. Yeah, I'm back on track. Thank you. Solid correction. Yeah, so we ended up reading along in that book, and we would read like whatever we felt like, 2 or 3 chapters a week, and then we would do a video call on the weekends to talk about it.
So, go on, please.
Oh no, I mean, I'm kind of just like rolling along and telling this as a story, so I'm trying to give like appropriate pauses to let you guys ask if you want to, but I also don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to fish for anything. So.
Yeah. There's also a bit of a delay because we are like a half-second delay because we are speaking to each other from across the fucking world in real time.
That's true.
That pisses me off, dude. I'm like, what the fuck? Come on, the fuck?
It's fucking garbage ass technology. No, this is.
Yeah.
Let's take a second to appreciate the fact that you're absolutely right. We're on the opposite side of a planet. This is cool.
Yeah, and I'm looking at you and Mike, and you guys are far away from each other, and both of you are extremely far away from me, and we're all having a conversation together in real time. Pretty rad. If that's not big sandals, I don't know what is, dude.
I love that. I love that. I accept.
But okay, so you've kind of described a bit about how you got there. I want to know what you found now. I'll preface again with you are someone that I hold very highly in terms of the way that you approach things, your mental capacity to digest and explain things like really resonates with me. And it seems like you come from, or at least came from, a similar background of disbelief. And I am legit very fucking curious as far as what you've now found in your year plus of call it whatever you want, truth seeking, Christian study, whatever.
Book reading.
Book reading.
I appreciate. You're very complimentary. So thank you. I hope that I can live up to it as I describe this. Long story short, I think I found God. But to be more
hell yeah,
yeah, brother. We did our book study thing for a long time, and I actually had a period where I was like, my friend's name is Jared, and I was like, hey, dude, Jared, I think I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think I'm starting to believe. And he was like, that's awesome, man. I'm happy for it. It's probably a weird transition period in your life. If you have questions or doubts or anything, just let me know. How about we keep on reading? And I was like, that's great. Let's keep on reading. And literally like 2 weekends later, I was like, hey, man, I don't think I believe anymore. And he was like, all right, dude, that's cool. It's probably weird to be in this phase in your life. So let's just keep on rolling along. Yeah.
What do you mean you think you believe? Like what were you, was it a feeling? Was it a thought? Was it a series of thoughts? What do you mean?
It was a thought. I think that's the well, now I think I would describe it as a feeling. I don't know. I don't think that I really went out of my way to break it down like that at the time. So I hope I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, at the time. So for context, we were on to our second book at this point, The Reason for God, by Tim Keller. Very, very good book. And during this reading was actually when I ended up making the little switch. That book's thing is that it argues for the existence of God. So I don't know if it is exactly because of his arguments or because of some other factors going on in my life, or the culmination of both books together in my brain at the right time. But yeah, so I think it was a thought at the time. I was.
Were you struggling with, like, you're like, okay, I've read a couple of books now. Is this knowledge or is this propaganda?
I was. Wow, yeah, that you articulated that very well. That was definitely, I had that thought many times, for sure. Like, am I force feeding myself stuff and just hoping desperately for answers to the universe to help me get rid of this terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach that feels like impending doom when I die and then our star implodes and then the universe turns into a bunch of cold gases and nobody does anything or lives anymore and nothing means anything? Am I just hoping desperately for something other than that? Or is this stuff actually making sense and resonating with me? Because I don't want to fool myself. And so I had that thought process many times. And I think that was why I went back and was like, hey, big dog, sorry, awkward. I think I might have been hoping instead of really believing. And I'm sorry for that. I hope you don't take that as disrespect to your religion. And he was like, he didn't take it like that at all. So very good guy. But
It sounds
now,
like you had a very excellent guru, as it were, as for your transition into this is like, because what do you want from like a spiritual, mentor? You want someone that understands everything that comes into your mind or that you feel, not somebody that's like, oh man, you know what? Actually, maybe this isn't for you. You know what? Fuck off, Shane.
right. Like, dude, it's kind of we've been doing this for like 6 months. Like, I don't really know. Listen, I feel like I've been pretty patient so far. No, it wasn't. That would have been awful. First of all, I would have been like, wow,
Yeah.
you're a prick. But it was the exact opposite, and I totally agree. He's been my awesome. He's been a great Sherpa up the mountain of spiritual fitness. He knows quite a few interesting winding paths, and yeah, very patient dude. And I think that's a requirement really for somebody who is going to be trying to help a friend go down that journey. Um, because I'm sure there are going to be moments, stumbling blocks where your friend is like, "Oh, I have doubts," or um, maybe he even had doubts at times when I asked questions. I really have no idea. He's been pretty open with me about stuff, so I think he would have told me, but it's possible, I guess. But yeah, very good guide, very patient, very smart dude, and he's been in the church for a long time, and so he had a pretty solid understanding himself of a lot of foundational concepts. But sometimes I would ask a question, and he'd be like, "Never really thought about that. That's a good question. Let's let's talk to my chaplain friend, or I'll talk to my pastor, or let's Google it right here, right now." Yeah. So
Yeah,
very
let's search for the answer. Let's find out what it is, which is really cool rather than just being fed or given bullshit that is argumentative or trying to sway you towards this religion as opposed to just laying out everything um that you can mull on yourself and make that decision for yourself.
yes,
That's
exactly.
really cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That kind
but
of
when it
reminds me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, dude.
I was just gonna say, but like when it comes to faith, it inherently built within it is the fact of you're not gonna get concrete answers that you find on Google,
Yeah, dude.
right?
No,
That's
no.
that's absolutely true. And that was one of the things in the reason that book, the second book, The Reason for God, that the author lays out pretty early, if I remember correctly. It's in there somewhere where he's like, "Look, I get it. Everybody wants an airtight answer that you could bring into like a court of law that would prove the existence of God and that you are 100% right. But that's not going to happen for a lot of reasons that he dives into in the book. I think the most obvious one is that even if you have concrete proof of the existence of God because it happened to you in front of your eyes, not behind a screen where you think things could be manipulated or whatever, because you could make a video about anything. But if it happened right now, if Little Sandals appeared in your room and he was like, "What's up, big dog? Hey, I'm here to give you the answers to the universe. Just you though. You're gonna have to tell people about it." You would probably either think you're hallucinating, or you would believe one of the two.
Yeah,
Um, and if you decided to go down the path of belief, you could go out and tell somebody else about it, and the whole world would not believe you. There might be some people who are like, "I believe the little sandals appeared because of whatever. I'm also a believer, or I'm open to that possibility, and I trust you, Jonah." But not everybody is. People are going to be like, "That guy is fucking cracked," and that's obviously not true because it just can't happen because it doesn't work with the laws of physics. Blah blah blah. Okay, so I think I've made my point well enough. I've driven that home. So you can find your own concrete proof, and it can come to you in a variety of ways. It could be like a literal miracle appearing in front of you. It could be a set of logical steps that you think is like good enough you think there's enough, like, there's probably going to be a margin of error there that you still can't account for. But comparing it with the other belief systems, or even like comparing it against everything that science says can or can't happen, there's still a little margin of error there. So you say, okay, choosing between these things, I'm good with Christianity. It's satisfactory. But it's not going to convince everybody, was his point. Which I thought was valid.
Yeah, that's very interesting. What was the argument? Do you remember the argument that really kind of finally tipped you over the edge, that convinced you that, oh, this is what I believe now. This is
I am
believe.
Shane the Christian as of this moment.
Yeah, I do. Looking back, I didn't realize that I had reached that moment at the time, and it was only until like a few weeks later when I was like, oh, boom. I think I get it now. And I read it in that same book, and it was a quick line. So C.S. Lewis, he wrote Chronicles of Narnia, very famous author, also devout Christian, very pious dude who also wrote a lot of Christian stuff. And this author, Tim Keller, quoted C.S. Lewis. And the thing that C.S. Lewis said was that if you look for the existence of God, that's basically like Hamlet looking for Shakespeare in the attic of his castle. He's not going to see him unless Shakespeare writes himself in. And so expecting to find airtight evidence of God's existence because of what you see in front of you isn't going to happen unless God lets that happen. And I think it's obvious to me that like that's not necessarily going to happen to everybody. And so when I crossed that threshold and realized, like, okay, I'm probably not ever going to get airtight proof, and I need to be open to the possibility of God existing anyway, I think that was the moment when I was truly open to it. I still wasn't like 100% set, but for me, that was a very convincing argument. And there's a lot of other really good stuff in the book that combined, but that was the one that really pushed me over the edge. It could be underwhelming to you guys right now or anybody hearing this. I really have no idea. But combined with the other stuff that he put in the book, that was what really opened me up. And what solidified things was a couple of months later, I'm on a cross-country trip driving from Virginia to Colorado. I was going to go and see you, big guy. I think I was going to California, and then I was going to come back for your wedding. But anyways, I'm on my cross-country trip, and I'm driving through Texas in a hotel room, and
There he is, little sandals.
yes,
Pops up in your hotel room, dude. Tell me about it.
basically, yeah. That was what happened. He didn't appear in front of me, but this is going to sound, well, yeah.
You're already in deep, dude. Go ahead.
I know. I'm in the story. I am having a hard time. Again, difficult point in my life, difficult transition. And long story short, I genuinely believe that I experienced a miracle. And it was during a time in my life when I had thought many times. I left it vague on purpose. I'm sure you guys are like, "What the fuck? What does experience a miracle mean?" Yeah.
Yeah, you just said you experienced a miracle, and we're like, dude, hell?
Yeah. Wow. Tell me more.
But it sounds like
Did
something
you
that
get-
you might
you
not
get
be able to go
stabbed
into
by
depth
a
on.
hooker or something, and then little
I hope-
sandals turned her into a fucking platypus.
That's right.
That's a
yeah.
miracle.
He separated us. And no, the reason I left it vague is one, to be an asshole, and also it is very personal, and it kind of connects back to what I said a little bit ago, that like it really does not matter what you tell people, and I'm not saying that you guys aren't going to be open to it, but I just know that like it wouldn't have been convincing to me to hear this story, and so a part of me thinks, okay, this is a very intimate experience, and it genuinely did like change my opinion. It could be that I'm like meant to share it, and maybe we'll talk about it at some point in the future. But yeah, at this point, I'm just kind of like that. It feels like it's not the focus of diving into this conversation. Like exactly what did happen
Sure.
that changed my opinion. So yeah, but
Yeah. No, again, Shane, I highly respect you, dude, and like I would never scoff at like you're like, hey, I experienced a miracle, and like yeah, there is that part in the back of my brain that goes, okay, sure, maybe he was driving, maybe maybe he was just really fucking tired, and maybe he was all out of cum, he jerked himself out of cum, and
that's
then
right. I'm just there driving.
yeah, maybe something happened, but also I'm like I'm very open to you and your version and like again like your mind, the way you approach things. And if you tell me you fucking experienced a miracle, I fucking believe you, dude.
I appreciate that, buddy. I'm realizing now that one, you guys are very good friends. Thanks for not pressuring me. Two, I think that kind of stuff is stuff that you are supposed to share. Now that I'm thinking about it, like lots of other people, I mean, they call it like sharing testimony. That's a Christian phrase that I've had to become more familiar with because originally I was like, what the fuck does that mean? But sharing your testimony means like sharing your experience in Christianity, whether it's miraculous or not, but like your journey to getting into the faith. And so we'll talk about it. I was having a really, really difficult time with I'm like freshly divorced, had just graduated from the warrant officer training, but I'm like exhausted with the way that my life has gone in the last year because I was deployed to Australia, got back to Japan, less than 2 months later flew to California, was gonna be a recruiter. I'm planning a move to Michigan, and like getting ready to like ship all my stuff and my dog there, and then I get selected for warrant officer, which was great, but also a big change. So I stay in California, and then I go to Virginia, and then I'm on my way back from Virginia to California, and that's where I'm at this point in my life. All this crazy stuff's going on. Freshly divorced, still trying to find my way spiritually, and not really knowing exactly how I felt. Just knowing that I felt very open to the possibility of God's existence because of that Shakespeare argument that I talked about earlier. And so I prayed for like not the first time in my life, but I prayed very fervently, like, God, I don't know what's going on at this point in my life, but I feel like I just want some guidance. Anything that could point me in the right direction, I'm totally open to it. I would really appreciate it if you would hook me up with something, big dog. Could you please help me? And I'm actually like kneeling at my window at this hotel in Amarillo, Texas, and I look up, and it's a very nice sunny day. It's, I don't know, sometime in the morning. I would guess like 9 or 10, and I see these two birds flicking across my field of vision. They're like far out. I'm looking at a parking lot basically. There's like a parking lot, bunch of parked cars, a tree, and then another hotel on the opposite side. And these birds fly across my field of vision, and there's one in front of the other that, and in my head, I immediately just thought, okay, that one's leading the other. And then they'd disappear. And that was it. That was the whole experience. Without knowing where the birds went, that was my first, I was just surprised. I'm kneeling at the window praying, and then I look up, and that's what happens. And then the birds are gone. No explanation. And I sat there, or I guess kneeled there, and like thought to myself, oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask. They didn't fly out of your vision. They just gone. Like poof,
That's right.
disappeared. Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, to be clear, I have like the window frame with plenty of field of view, and they get I don't even know, maybe halfway across, and then boom, they're just gone. And I thought to myself at the time, was that a miracle? Was that God answering me? Am I hallucinating? Am I so desperate at this tough time in my life that I'm willing to conjure up an image to convince myself of God's existence? and I don't have an answer to that part. There's like no way, that I could answer that. But given everything else that had been happening in my life, in my spiritual journey, and the fact that I figured I probably couldn't expect any other airtight proof of the existence of God unless I accepted the possibility that miracles were real, I thought, okay, I think I'm going to take that as what I think it is. The feeling that one bird was leading the other, that popped into my brain immediately, was mixed with this feeling that it was supposed to be for me. And I think that the imagery was that, like, I was the rear bird and God or Little Sandals or whoever, somebody was the front bird, leading me, giving me something, anything to grab onto to show me, like, you're going in the right direction. And that was how I interpreted it in my head as I was watching them. And that very strong feeling that had popped into my head so suddenly and so clearly was included in my conception of the entire experience as a miracle. So, again, whether or not that was me hallucinating, I asked myself for days afterwards, I don't know what just happened. Do I think that was legit? I'm not sure how to feel about it. But
Well, I think when it comes to, like that, for example, or what like Christians call miracles and Buddhists call divine intervention, and Hindus call visions of nirvana or whatever, I don't think it necessarily matters, right? Because the at least this is my view, right? Because I used to be quite religious, and I kind of broke away, and I've become open to a lot of different views in the world. But
I gotcha.
I don't think it necessarily matters whether it was real or not. Just like I don't necessarily think it matters if you're a Christian or a Hindu or a Buddhist, right? Because the actual meaning behind what you're searching for in that religion is fulfillment and betterment in your life, right? So for God to give you two birds and then have them flash, you could have been hallucinating, right? Could have been, but the thought that came in your mind that gave you comfort to move on with your life and feel more fulfilled and actually give you some kind of direction and peace. Yeah, peace, direction. Something that gives you hope, right? Because that's ultimately what it is hope, right? We hope that when we die, there's some kind of fulfillment. We hope that while we're here, we're able to influence people's lives for the better. We hope that you're not going to get stabbed by a hooker when you walk out of your hotel room in Amarillo. We hope that. And when those things happen, when those things don't happen, right? We don't get stabbed by that hooker. That hope is fulfilled.
What if you walked out, dude, and you've like, oh my God, you just, oh my big sandals, and you walk out, you go to get in your car, and you see a hooker with just two birds in her. She's just strangling two birds to death, dude.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah.
I think that's also divine intervention in a way. Like, that's my version of a miracle.
She gives her explanation, like, yeah, I was actually on the roof and I jumped off. And like, as I flashed past the window, I could have sworn I saw somebody kneeling there. But anyways, yeah, I caught the birds as I was falling.
She's wearing camouflage. She's full camo, dude. Just
that's right.
Yeah. Hasn't eaten in weeks, dude. And these two birds are going to sustain her for another 2 weeks. You know what I mean? That's a miracle.
I want her to stay up. I hope that she gets to a better point in her life. No, I think that you put that really well, man. But I could say that to both of you. But I'm talking specifically to you, Torin. Men, yes, my men, my dudes. That I think in a way, it doesn't really matter. Because yeah, it was genuinely a transformative experience for me. And I had been selfishly, I wasn't praying for that, but I had thought many times that, like, man, it would be cool to get one thing from God.
Come on.
Hey,
give me something.
Throw me a bone here. Hey, I'm really trying here. And yeah, that when that happened to me, I again wishful thinking. Anything else, it is impossible for me to say at this point. I know what I would have thought if somebody had told me that story 2 years ago. There would have been like 1% of me that's like, oh, maybe God does exist. 99% of me would have been like, that's kind of, you're going
You're
through
a
a tough
fucking
time.
idiot. Those are just birds, dude.
Right, exactly. You're sure you didn't blink?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Mini
it's kind of
stroke,
like,
perhaps.
yeah, like
Right.
all these religions they talk about something similar, which is you don't see miracles until you believe in the miracles, right? You don't get given that divine intervention until you truly believe that divine intervention is possible. And that was one of the takeaways I had from Christianity when I was a lot younger, and maybe that's misguided or whatever, but it makes sense when you think about it. Like, you're at your lowest point, you're like,
I
fuck,
think so.
I feel like dog shit, and I don't know for 100% that you're real, but man, like, I hope you are. I hope you is, bro, because fucking
Yeah.
I'm at the end of some kind of rope. I don't know what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
And
wonder
so,
if I wonder if big sandals, little sandals, no sandals, would only present themselves in such a place. Maybe if there is some kind of divine plan, you know, there's something about the meek in the Bible. I've heard about that, but someone that's in like a really shitty spot is the exact kind of person, you in this fucking hotel room in Amarillo, Texas, that needs that at that time. So maybe that's, if I'm Big Sandals allocating resources, I'm like, all right, shit. All right, what do we got today? Right. Shane Kennedy. Damn, he's not doing great. All right, we'll give him a bone. All right, send the birds. Send the birds.
Calling the birds, and they're like, classic bird. Hey, we got a bird mission. A bunch of other angels are over there. We're on it. We're headed down with that. When's he gonna be in front of the window? He's right there. Go.
Yeah.
We're late. Fuck, we're late.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, my skeptical brain then goes to the dead babies, of course, or the most extreme examples of like truly horrific shit happens and people are at the lowest place in their lives. There's somebody at the lowest fucking point in their life that's gonna die miserably and brutally, and there ain't no birds in that moment, or maybe they're just not looking. I don't know, but
yeah, I hear you. That's a super good point, and I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
Oh no, I think that's just where maybe that's where I'm at in my spiritual journey, is like I feel like I'm not there, but I'm not like far away either. I've definitely approached some kind of that empty sensation of like something else. Something would be nice.
Right.
Got any nice shit out there in the ether that it's gonna make me feel that hope, peace, and guidance, and then. But like, it's just like an inkling in my mind at this point. Maybe that's, I don't know. I'm now a spiritual infant, or wishful thinking, or whatever. I don't know. Or maybe I'm totally fucking right and it's all chaos and bullshit, and God's a fucking sham. Yeah. So I
don't believe that, but it is. Yeah, we're rolling with it. Yeah.
I don't know. I do know that you got to get to church, big boy. Speaking of, you asked me.
You're being very respectful about that, but yeah, I don't have to leave for about another hour.
Skip it.
About another hour.
Skip it. Get drunk. Skip it.
Yeah, let's just talk for a whole morning.
Well, yeah. I did have.
I was just gonna say if that was your tactful approach to ending the interview, we could also do that. But yeah, I do have more time.
No, I have one more topic that I'd like to bring up with you.
Sure.
Hopefully that won't take super long. But we're at about an hour in the recording anyway, which is generally where we like to make a. But so transitioning a bit, I want to talk about eating pussy.
Eating pussy, dude.
eating pussy, son. I recently had a conversation with a woman whose pussy you've eaten, Shane.
I can think of well, at least two that you have the ability to contact whose pussy I've eaten.
Yeah,
But I think I know
and
what you're talking about.
yeah, and I asked about this pussy eating experience, and you know, I'll keep the reviews a mystery.
Okay.
Not all
That
bad,
means
not
it's
all
bad,
not all
doesn't it?
5-star. You know.
means it's bad.
She got nuanced in it, which I appreciated. But
refreshing. That's real refreshing.
Yet honest.
yeah, and it kind of inspired me to take this time as a bit of a round robin, a round table discussion as far as what
Okay.
are your guys' pussy eating techniques, because like I think I eat pussy good, but I have like 3 techniques that I just kind of loop through, and then I have a wife, that like that's the only pussy I'm eating of late, and she's like, yeah, you're so fucking amazing, and I'm like,
Maybe
But
I'm
there's-
not. What's
probably-
her context for it though? It's
Yeah.
like she only ever had real shit pussy eaten, or
well, she's
is,
also like the
not really
nicest
good?
person in the world, so do you think she'd tell me if I ate pussy shitty?
Fuck.
Oh no, that's the worst. When you're like, I don't know if they're being nice or if they're being honest, and I just can't trust that. Yeah, that's a,
So-
You can't trust nice people, can you? You just can't
No.
trust
Right.
overly nice people about anything.
No. So what I'm thinking, gentlemen, is that there's some strength in numbers, like apes together stronger kind of thing,
of course.
and I'm curious to share with you guys my pussy eating techniques, and then to you guys share yours as well, and maybe we can take something away from this conversation productively.
Are we
Fuck all that.
critiquing as well, or are we?
Sure, if you want. Have you ever had your pussy eaten? I don't know if you should be able to critique
Nah,
anything.
I've had my ass licked. Is that the same?
No.
Nah, never mind then.
I think he's. That's okay then. I would accept your reviews of your ass having been eaten. If you want to dive into that, personally,
yeah.
I would accept that.
Well, okay. You know what? I'll start. Well, first of all, and this kind of goes into just ass eating as well, is you got to get in there. At least in my brain, I'm like, you can't. One of my earliest advice on eating pussy was you can't be a pussy about eating pussy.
Fair.
Like you can't just like try some like little, yeah, it's just little bullshit and be like, hey, good, yeah, all right. Like, pussy has a taste, pussy has a smell, and you gotta if you want to be good at eating pussy, you gotta embrace those things, and you gotta get the fuck in there. You gotta swipe your nose like a credit card through the pussy. In the words of Nicki Minaj.
Preach.
That might have been Cardi B. I'm not sure. But that's
read
my
the same
one-liner. Yeah, dude, that's my one-liner of fucking
Wet ass
miracle.
pussy.
Yeah, no, of belief.
That was miraculous. I feel like I just got some divine knowledge just now. So thank you for that.
Yeah, but okay, so I pretty much have, maybe it's more than this, but if I'm going to eat some pussy, I'm gonna start a little slow, and like I'm gonna give some smooches down the body, smooch the pussy, and then start smooching the thighs. Very important to like approach the pussy, then pull back a little. Pull back a little, give some attention to the thighs, and then like I've tried this and I don't know if it's actually relevant or not, but I like to I like to kind of smooch or bite the mons. You know what I'm talking about? Like the upper pussy area. And then I like to take my tongue and go on the crevice of like the sides of the pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like point the tongue, go all the way around, like go around the edges of the vulvas, if you will. And like this is all like foreplay to my foreplay, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
I can already see you're looking at me with a critiquing eye, Micin, and like I'm down to hear it, dude.
I'm just listening. Go ahead, dude. You finish.
I'm down to hear it, man.
I'm not gonna interrupt, dude. I'm not gonna interrupt, bro. You keep going. You tell us your processes.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's only because I've heard that like even if you're not, mashing the clitoris button. Like there's still like all those nerve endings are in that general area to the point where like it's still stimulating, even if you're not directly on the clitoris itself, right? But then at some point like I get a little impatient, dude, and I go for some. And then I get in there. I'm like, you know what? Enough of that around the block shit. I just get in there and I go. I stick my tongue. Go wide tongue, go up and down the puss itself, getting all that juice, that tang, that sweet tang. Yeah, you boys know what I'm talking about. That tang.
Oh yeah, that
into the back of the throat, dude. Yeah, and then I mean honestly, it only like even if you don't like to taste the pussy. Which I don't think that I've put myself necessarily in that boat. But like it goes away pretty quick because then you're just tasting your own spit after you slurp up the pussy juice.
Not if you're doing it right.
That's a good point. Good point. I mean, yeah, when you come back down, sure, but
yeah.
I don't spend too much time on the pussy hole itself. I start there. I shake hands with it, or the equivalent of I give you a little hole action, but then I'm right to the clit, baby. I'm right to the clit, and from there I pretty much have 3 techniques. One being like super pointed tongue, and then I'm going up and down. Going up and down at various speeds and like pressures. Depending, I'm trying desperately to read what I can fucking tell.
Right, you have to pay attention the whole time and that's like assuming that they are a responsive partner in the first place. So
yes,
I'm totally with you.
Yeah, and I mean, like if they're not responsive, you're shooting in the dark, and like and even the same lady. It could feel differently at different times or different opportunities or different pussy eating sessions. So like you need a responsive partner if you ever even remotely hope to eat pussy effectively. But assuming that you have that, so I have the one technique of the pointed tongue straight up and down. And then I have same pointed tongue, but then I go around the clit. I go around different pressures and speeds, and then sometimes I go clockwise for a bit, and I counterclockwise for a bit, and then my third one. I don't know why I'm holding up. My third one is. My third one is a aggressive side to side, like either pointed or flat tongue, just. Fucking like as hard as I can, like literally just smearing my face into this woman's clitoris, and I pretty much cycle between like mix and match, try to read the read the room, read the shivers or the lack thereof, to know which technique is appropriate or which intensity is appropriate in this particular moment, until climax. Which hopefully she's not faking at that too. But if you got a faker, that's a fucking problem. Like how are you ever gonna get better if you don't have real feedback? And what's nice about Janie is she'll just tell me. She'll just tell me if oh, like a little softer, please. But in other moments, that same intensity, she's all about. It depending on where we're at in the process of the working our way to an orgasm is with a different pressure. And sometimes I'm going a little too hard. She's like, hey. And I'm like, oh shit, my bad. And then I make like she verbally tells me, and then I make adjustments accordingly. And then just because I think there's something deep in me that like I enjoy bringing others to orgasm, like I get some kind of pride or pleasure in myself whenever I can make someone else
like a satisfaction almost.
Yeah. Maybe it's even like my own ego, like another satisfied customer, so much so that like I do this all before we fuck at all, like and I'll do this.
It's a good strategy.
At least once, but up to like 3 or 4 times, depending on how I'm feeling that day. Like big comes, and then I'll be like, give it a sec, dive back in. I got my 3 techniques ready to go. I just practice them, right. and then typically it's a little, it's even a little bit easier. The consecutive orgasms, and pretty much that's it. That's the whole thing, and I've had partners be like tell me like, hey, yeah, no, it's great that you even eat pussy. And I'm like, what kind of fucking scrubs are out there that you're fucking that ain't eating pussy, for one? But the fact that I'm so like devoted to my craft in a way, like I think has impressed some women and has then made them consider me a better lover.
Yeah, it sounds like you're almost an artist who already has a pretty refined technique, but is like trying to collaborate with maybe other artists. And I don't feel like I'm on your same line. I'm gonna be totally upfront here.
Let's hear it, boy.
I have had success in the past with the person that you referenced earlier. I already know. Not my best work, but that's okay. We have our ups and we have our downs. So that's no. What you mentioned about, especially like leading up to it, I have a similar deal going where like when you first enter the arena, right? You're between the legs. You can't go straight for the goods. I think it's bad form personally, unless it's like heat of the moment, very passionate, like certain situations could call for that. But I think that a little bit of a lead up is in order, generally speaking, involving like, kissing or touching the thighs or going around a little bit before you actually get full on into the vajayjay. But as far as like the actual technique, I'm trying to get it straight in my head, because you really broke yours down very easily. I think that. So you didn't talk about your hands. Are your hands involved at all in the process? Because mine are.
No, not usually. Some women I've been with like do enjoy like fingering during, but in my experience, most women don't. Like it kind of even subtracts from the process of like. It's like harder to focus if you're like, finger fucking gouging them on the inside while they're trying to get some clitoral satisfaction.
For sure. No, that's super fair. And I think that like the technique of one's fingers greatly affects. I'm going off of like feedback I've gotten from a couple of different partners. But it could be that not everybody likes it and they just haven't been upfront with me. But like I try and focus on the G spot. And like the focus is what I'm doing with my mouth, mainly on the clit, like you talked about. But attention is given, generally speaking, to the G spot as well, or at least I'm like in the spot where the G spot is for most women with my fingers.
Yeah, for me, dude, like hands are like grabbing ass or like gripped around the legs the whole time.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. Then it sounds like you're quite successful, so it could be that I have much to learn from you. But yeah, as it stands right now, my go-to technique is like, it depends on the feedback that I'm getting, but generally speaking, that's how I'll start off. I feel like that's my strong start, is working once I pass the foreplay stage and I'm actually in there, licking, sucking, nibbling, whatever you got to do. But I'm also varying my speed and intensity with pressure on the G spot. But as far as like,
is this a bit of like patting your head and rubbing your belly at the same time? Like it's hard to do both.
You might think so, and it could be that like I'm actually like totally asynchronized and I just haven't ever noticed it because I'm not the one getting my pussy eaten. But I think I'm pretty coordinated, or at least all you have to do is like keep your hand going the same speed with your fingers curled the appropriate way. And as long as you can do that and like mindlessly just keep your arm going, yeah, I can do my thing with my mouth and tongue up top. But
what is your thing with your mouth and tongue up top?
Yeah, you got very detailed with what you're doing with your tongue, especially. And when I'm on the clit, man, generally speaking, I'm mainly either it's like I'm using my tongue like flat and I'm going from top to bottom. I guess I'm licking it. That's what that's called. I just
top to bottom.
Yeah. Bottom to top. Excuse me.
Okay.
Bottom to top. Yeah. So I'm either licking with a wide tongue, or if I have to like get in there, especially there's a clitoral hood that sometimes you have to maneuver around a little bit, depending on her arousal. A lot of the time that's not even an issue, but yeah, sometimes I have to like maneuver.
Peel back the hood, dude. Are you peeling back the hood?
Like no, not with my tongue or with my hands or anything, but like you have to just like maneuver your tongue to make sure that like you're actually hitting the clit. Because I think with like the wide tongue approach, with the way that some women's vaginas are shaped,
sometimes it hides, bro. Yeah, right, sometimes it sneaks away in there. Yeah, recedes a little bit.
Gotta make sure you're hitting it.
I mean, I still think even if you're like bashing the door with your tongue, like you're still hitting it. Like you don't have to like bring the bald man out of the boat in order to smack him around.
I disagree, man. Once that bald man goes into the fucking door, dude, you gotta coax him back out again. You can't just because you don't get any joy from smacking the door.
I think you do.
Bald man's it's not the same, man. It's not. It's definitely not.
Man,
the same.
We need a woman.
I was gonna say maybe
we need a fucking woman, dude. But you know what? This is better actually. We'll just talk wildly like we know what the hell we're saying.
Just
it's funnier for us just to like very confidently talk about what it feels like to have a clit. Let's just keep arguing about it.
Okay, so as far as when you're doing your mouth technique, you're pretty much just one solo technique of licking. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically. Or sometimes I don't know if I'm mixing it up. Basically, if I'm like not getting anything out of the lick, the classic lick, then I'll mix it up and make my tongue into more of a. You did a good job. I guess it's like flat and like a little more pointed, so that I can. Like get more intensity, I guess.
More like a flick instead of a lick.
Right,
flick,
exactly.
Yeah.
a tongue flick.
Sure, a flick. It's a good.
That's good.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
pretty much it. Yeah, that's the whole technique. That's
Okay.
the Shane 3000.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Micans?
Oh, my turn. Okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously we both do.
Hold on, before you get started, dude, I can tell this is a topic you're fucking passionate about,
Oh,
buddy.
brother, I
Shane,
love.
Shane definitely was like, "Oh shit, this is where we're going." You were like,
I love
When you
eating
talked about
puss.
his expression, I noticed the exact same thing, and it cracked me up because he was like, "I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything." I was like, "It's because he had stuff to say." That's
"Yeah,
why.
dude, we have a pussy connoisseur on our hands, as it seems."
Brothers, I love eating pussy more than I love actual sex. I'm not even gonna lie to you, dude. Straight up, man, that brings me so much satisfaction. And the worst sex I've had has been when I haven't been able to lead in with eating puss. Right? If for some reason to me, and this is probably like a fault of mine in some way, but for me, it's like I don't get nearly as much sexual gratification out of intercourse as when I do when I'm able to eat that puss first, right? Or after, or during, but essentially, like, you're right. You can't just dive in. You got to give a little bit of fucking. You got to give a little bit of fucking love to the outsides. I do a lot of nibbling. I like biting the inside of the thighs. I like squeezing, grabbing ass. Getting my slobber around there because it's not so much about warming up for me. It's not so much warming up the pussy as it is getting everything properly lubricated before I fucking dive in there. And one of the best techniques I've found for that is using your tongue and reaching down to the entrance of the actual pussy itself and pulling the natural juices up, right, up to the clitoris, right? So using her natural juices on the clitoris as opposed to just using my saliva, right? Because your saliva has a different pH from her actual natural lubricants, right?
Oh,
I know
like
it
a
sounds
fucking chemist, dude.
serious, dude. That's just the way it is, man. You got to be careful.
Are you
you got to mix them.
Are you fucking dehydrated, man? Like,
No,
you
that's
got to
not what I'm
borrow
saying.
some
That's
juice?
not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
Okay.
is your
Gotta talk to the
spit,
solid.
right, has a different pH, so it has a tendency to, it's like getting what is it, fucking like 5 o'clock shadow burn. When you get like when you're kissing somebody or you're rubbing like your skin on like the inside of their thighs, you can burn the inside of their fucking thighs with your beard, your beard
sure.
burn, whatever it is, right? So, but that can actually happen with your saliva if you're eating too much puss. It almost dries out the fucking vagina itself. So you got to mix those two juices, right? Now, there's also a space in between the clitoris and the pussy itself. It's like this real soft. It's almost like a soft channel or cavern, right? Like it's like real raw skin. It's real soft and slick. Man, you give that fucking little bit of skin some love, dude. In between, you go like pointed tongue, flat tongue, pointed tongue, just back and up and down, pulling those pussy juices up, and then back down again, just going back and forth. That
Are you taking maybe caution to avoid the clitoris at this point? Like you're still in like I'm just getting shit ready right now.
No. I'm teasing it. I'm teasing that motherfucker.
You're like almost getting to it, giving it a little, giving
maybe
like
give it
a
a little bit of a
slap.
tap. Yeah, just a little out, and then
whisper.
back down again. Yeah, just a little whisper slap, just whoop, back down again, whoop, back down again, right?
Okay.
And then what I do is if it's being received well, right? So what I do is I alternate between a pointed tongue up and down, and then a pointed tongue left and right. And then some of the best advice I ever got was it was when, so I was jerking off to a women's health magazine at my grandparents' house, right? When I was like 13 years old.
Hell yeah. And you just happen to look down and acquire some knowledge. That
was what I was jerking off to. They were talking about what women enjoy when they're getting their pussy ate, right? And so one of the things.
Hold on. Were you looking at a photo or you were reading?
No, I was reading, dude. I was reading what they were talking about and imagining it and just fucking going to town like a little sexual
First
deviant.
experience with erotic fiction.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it was some columnist who writes for fucking women's health magazines. She's like, "Oh, I've got this," and I was just like, "Fucking yeah,
Erotic
that's fucking
nonfiction, though,
delicious." Yeah,
apparently.
nonfiction. Yeah, nonfiction. Totally fucking like this is like an advice page, right? And so some of the best advice I ever got was from that, and it was, uh, imagine like the vagina itself, hood, clit, and that space in between the puss, right? Imagine it like an ice cream cone, and then you're alternating between flat pointed tongue and you're licking your ABCs.
Oh yeah, you're an alphabet guy.
Heard that
Yeah,
before.
you do A, B, C, D, all the way through, and then you do lowercase as well, right? Because that totally changes the game. Then you try to learn cursive. Then now you're speaking Japanese on the puss. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what language it is, dude.
Guy.
Yeah, do some Sanskrit, bro. Some like little fucking slashes and dots, bro. Fucking mint, all right. But so talking about like coaxing the bald man out of its hood, right? That's what you're doing is when you're flicking some of that juice up, and just the tip of it just kind of just like that, and then that's gonna start drawing him out, and then as you draw that little bald man's head out, then you start going from side to side. And see, I'm a big tease guy, and so I just go back and forth. Now you're right, it's all dependent on reception from your partner, right? So if I do use hands, okay, one of the best techniques I found isn't trying to do two things at once, right? It's not trying to use your finger to tickle the G spot and lick the pussy in a certain way, right? So what I do is I'll reach my finger in, and then I'll do the hook like that, and then I'll pull it out. And as I'm
Can you
pulling
move
it,
your hand this way?
sorry, can
Thank
see
you.
it now? Okay.
Yeah.
So you pull in, right? You go in, and then as you're pulling that finger out like this, like hooked, you're licking up. So you're doing it synchronized like that, right? And then when you do a side to side like that, you have your finger just in the very entrance, because there's like, what is it, like six-fold more nerve endings at the entrance of the pussy than there are just inside it, right? So you have that finger just in a little bit, and as you're going from side to side, you just do little circles like this, just on the inside of
Oh,
the
dude,
puss.
I've never heard the circles before.
Yeah, dude,
That sounds like good shit.
just do little circles like that, and then maybe go in again. And instead of hooking up to try to get to that G spot, hook down the other way and go towards the butt, right? Go like
Yeah.
down like that,
Scoop some of that poop but
Yeah,
from
well,
like the
from the
thin
inside. Yeah,
membrane. Yeah.
you're working it right. So you're working those muscles in the
Working that
anus
shit
from
back and
inside,
forth.
right? You're just
Yeah.
fucking going in and out, and then you slip two fingers in, but you go so slow, right? You do two just on the entrance, and then you come back out. And then just two in the entrance, and you go in a little bit deeper, and then come back out. And all this while, you're just going from side to side like that. Easy. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just a little bit of side to side action. And then what you do is you pull all the way out. You grab her by her thighs, and then you just pull her in, right? You pull her into your face. You don't want to push your face into her puss. You want to pull her puss into your face, because now
Yeah.
she's
show
feeling
your power, dude.
yeah. She's
Yeah.
feeling your gusto, right? To really get in there.
Gusto.
Now, if you're doing doggy, right, with you're with a chick who likes doing doggy style, you can still eat puss. It's super easy, right? You just do the same thing from behind, okay? But then because you're at a different angle, now you've got to think of your tongue like a
If I'm eating pussy from the back, I'm just eating ass, dude. And then I'm using my hand for clitoral stimulation.
No, see, think of it the other way, right? Use your thumb from the top and use that on the ass, and then use your tongue to kind of lap around the fucking like a dog drinking water from a bowl to lick the puss, right? And then another thing I really enjoy doing is because I've had this happen a couple times where I've just been having sex with a chick. I did not really fast, and it's just that's what happens. I've got weak nut, whatever. Guys have it sometimes.
Sure.
It just happens, right?
I've nutted quickly before.
It happens, right? Shane, I'm sure.
I've always taken hours to come. Always a satisfied customer too. They're not really, we're tired of it. It doesn't happen.
I don't know. The conversation started because we were talking to a semi-satisfied customer of yours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that. Honestly, horrible performance. I've thought about it since then and been like, that probably wasn't. That's okay.
Dude,
I think myself.
Shane, this is a safe space. This is a constructive pussy eating zone.
100%.
But yeah, her exact words to me go, you know, it's like pizza.
I'm gonna be honest. This probably isn't my ideal safe space where it's gonna go on the internet afterwards. That's okay, because I don't feel judged by you guys, and I'll take that. I'll take that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like pizza.
Yeah.
It is like pizza.
Oh fuck, dude! I almost died. I'm crying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I feel pretty confident here
Yeah.
in giving us a ranking. Mike and like, dude, you made me horny fucking talking about eating pussy. So I'm gonna give you the top dog. I'm gonna slot myself right in the middle there. And then Shane, you're gonna get our most improved award next time we talk.
100%. 100%.
I agree with your ranking. And Micans, you're very passionate. Jonah, you started off pretty strong, and that was my thought at first. Like, oh man, this guy is really into giving. What's the word? Cunnilingus. Is that
Cunnilingus.
Yeah. But Micans, that your description, your gusto, took the cake.
Dude, yeah, no, that I think I can. We can all learn a thing or two here. You know, maybe not Micans, but.
Oh, that's the secret is I'm always learning. I'm always learning.
Dude, you got a subscription to Women's Health?
Yeah, an online one. They send me emails every week. You know, like, oh, this is the new pussy eating techniques that have come out.
You get the fucking newsletter.
Yeah, I should have been taking notes this whole time. I guess I'll be able to review this later, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. I feel again, ape stronger together.
That's absolutely right.
Ape stronger together.
This was productive.
Yeah, Shane. So. Thanks for joining us, buddy. I fucking love you so goddamn much, dude. And yeah, I so big sandals, damn much, dude. And thank you for joining us today and answering our fuckload of questions and being vulnerable and sharing your experiences. I think it was really, really cool of you.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I love you guys too, and am glad that we got to do this, and I'm glad to be part of history in the Weasel's production. But also, I just like hanging out with you guys. So yeah, genuinely, thank you.
Cool.
No, thank you, Shane. Really appreciate you a lot, and really happy that you're starting to not just take steps but to actually find fulfillment in those areas where you feel empty and lacking. And you're such an awesome person. You legitimately, like, this is what I tell people when I talk about you, is he's the best person I've ever met in my life. And for me to hear that you improving on yourself and you feel like now you're becoming the kind of person that you want to be, that really makes me really happy. And I really appreciate you a lot, Shane. So, thank you.
Thank you, man. Hopefully I can improve my pussy eating as well. That's another area for me.
We'll get you there. We'll get you there. Big secret, you can't be afraid of getting a little bit of sperm in your mouth, sometimes you just got to dive in there after the fact. All right. Just get in there and fucking go for it, son.
Have a good day. Have a good time at church, Shane. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
I've arisen from prisons, head on collision with visions I had back then, it was written. I've been walking in purpose. I've been coaching myself on life, telling me that it's worth it. It's some things I'm still gonna improve, and the timing is perfect. Still paranoid that I make it lose like some toxic been lurking, anticipating my every move. On the back of my shirt is a target made to play me a fool. I won't fall to the serpent. Swear to God, I've been working like a doctor and surgeon, trying to piece together the pieces and heal up what hurted. My vice suffice till it don't it shows. My passion might lead me out to a life is an open door. Sometimes it just takes a little bit more to keep me right. Oh.